this is a whole new realm for me, and the person who is not usually nervous, I'm genuinely nervous today, so bear with me. And today we're going to be digging into something that's a bit more, not just personal leadership, not just professional leadership. It's a little bit inside my life today. So that's why I'm feeling a little bit nervous. And Tara Time is going to be a regular weekly content piece for me now. And I'm going to be bringing on amazing guests every week. And we're just going to explore personal leadership, professional leadership, business, lifestyle, and everything in between. And today I thought, what better way to start this series than with where it began? So if you've been in my world for a little while, you may have already met this wonderful woman who is my guest today. But I just thought, like I say, where better to start than some embarrassing childhood stories, a little look into who I was before I started any of this. So my very, very first guest is my wonderful mother, Neena Rainey, and I'm going to bring her in now, and we're just going to have a chat and talk about where it all began. So let me add her in, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. Hello.
Hi, my name is Neena Rainey. Not only am I the mother of this wonderful abstract creature, but I'm also a businesswoman in my own right. I am a clinical hypnotherapist, an integral eye movement therapist, practitioner, but I'm not your run-of-the-mill therapist. Let's just say that. I'm not your norm.
Yeah, I think that's a fair introduction. So now you're here, suddenly all of my nerves are subsiding. Maybe that's the maternal effect. But like I just said in a quick intro, this is all about having a bit more of a look into where things started. And as a leadership coach and a lifestyle coach, I thought, let's dig into where it started, and you can bring some stories and maybe fully embarrass me to the entire internet about where it did start.
Yeah, you see, I think that deep down, and obviously, I deal a lot with subconscious as well as conscious mind. Subconsciously, I know your dirtiest, darkest secrets. And this may be a pilot, but when you said, Mother, you have carte blanche, you don't know what shit bomb I'm going to drop at any point, do you? So apart from actually unplugging me, you've given me carte blanche. So maybe some of that is slightly, but I could never dream of doing that. Or could I?
Yeah, I have given you carte blanche. I'm trying to think there can't be anything. The thing is, I tend actually not. I don't embarrass easily. Like there's not many things that actually embarrass
you don't.
me.
That's true.
And it's Tom, my husband. It's his eternal mission to try. What I once said that to him, and he was like, "Yeah, all right." So it's been his eternal mission to try and embarrass me with things like, if I ever fart in the car.
I would say it's bodily functions. It's got to be burps and farts for you, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. If I ever fart in the car, he's like, "Oh no, you don't get embarrassed, do you?" So if I ever do anything like that, or something, or in a public place or something, he'll fart shame me to try and embarrass me. So he's done it when we've been in a really, really busy traffic jam. He's opened the window and shouted, and I'm like, "Oh well, you could try. It's not going to embarrass me."
Yeah, but the thing is, I think that as somebody who works with people's emotions, embarrassment, what does it, what is it? It's shame, is it for whatever it is? We covered on one of your things this week as well, guilt, the release of guilt. Guilt and shame I have 4 wonderful children. And I'm glad to say that each one of them has gone out there and ploughed their own furrow because they were told from day one, you are no better, that you're no worse than anybody else. So go out and do anything that your heart desires as long as you don't hurt somebody else or climb on somebody else's shoulders to achieve your goal. And you and your brother are certainly achieving that. We don't know what we're doing with the twins yet. They were 17, but we haven't decided yet. We've decided we've got some program lined up for them.
Oh dear. All right. Okay. So where would you start? Where would you start if you were to tell people something?
Where did Tara start? Tara was conceived in a tent. There you go. That's the beginning. Sorry, too much, Tara.
No, not too much. Go on.
Job lot. So, creature of habit, both Tara and her brother were conceived in tents, which possibly gives her that outdoor feeling and why she loves the great outdoors and adventure. The week before, as ever, Tara was always in a hurry to get to wherever she was going to go. She was a week early. The week before she was due, I contracted chickenpox and I was very, very, very poorly. I had to be admitted to hospital, and anything that I planned, she made sure she ruled even before the day she was hatched and she came out. So I rocked up, not with the little case and everything else, but I rocked up with shoes, my husband's shoes, Andrew, my husband at that time, Tara's dad, his shoes, a pair of pajama bottoms, crying, covered in chicken pox. My body had gained, I'd got poisoning inside. Even before she came out, nobody could decide who she was going to be delivered. So I had 2 midwives outside deciding whether or not they were going to deliver her. She was delivered, for those that live in the UK, 10 minutes into EastEnders music. So as the started, she decided to make an appearance quick as ever. She was in and out, just straight, there we go. But when she arrived, she was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I couldn't stop staring at her. But unfortunately, me and her brother and probably half the family had got chickenpox, so it was like Black Death. So nobody came to see her. They kicked me out of the hospital as soon as I'd had her. And for 2 weeks, I couldn't feed her because I was covered in chickenpox. Literally, it was horrific. And she was born, if you like to just do as a quick, she's got a huge scar on her arm. Well, as soon as she was born, she couldn't even have chickenpox all over. She had to concentrate it into one massive scar on her arm. That was Tara's arrival on this earth.
I do like to bring a little bit of disruption wherever I go.
No.
I do like to bring a little bit of disruption. No disruption?
No, I'll object to that one. You make your presence known, because disruption, you were 18 months before I actually noticed that you cried. So no, you didn't. You were the best baby in the world. And I've looked after some in my time.
Did I sleep a lot?
You knew what? You couldn't wrap you couldn't hold you, couldn't cuddle you. You wanted to make sure you went to sleep when you went to sleep. And then at 18 months, you got some back teeth cutting and you cried. And I thought, bloody hell, when did she turn into that? So independence was there from day one.
That is interesting. And yeah, you've shared.
And then we'll skip a bit more because somebody wants to hear baby stories. So then we'll skip a few years where we went to primary school. And I went into school because at night, Tara used to sit there with a little writing pad and all about books organised. And she would say, Mummy, I've got to get this homework done. And I was thinking, God, they're really hard. She's only like 8 or 9. And I went into school on parents' evening. She says, oh, she's doing so well, so sociable. All her friends like her. She's a born leader. I said, that's great, but I think you're a little bit heavy on the homework. And they went, what homework? We don't do homework. And Tara, in her Tara-isms, had decided to create her own homework. So she used to sit there making her own homework up so she could match her big brother and obviously get that much ahead. So that's
I still do that now. I just still make my own homework now, and that's
you're very self-driven.
When we spoke a little bit about this before, and you were like, oh, what things shall I talk about? And that one for me, like I was always a nerd. I'm still a nerd. I've always been a nerd. Like when it comes to learning.
No, I'm going to challenge that. You're not a nerd. Every day is a school day for you, and you thrive on knowledge. So you're not a nerd. No, you just love to learn.
I do.
All right, you're a nerd. I think that you love to learn, right?
I do love to learn.
Which then takes me to the next phase. Let's just jump on ahead again. So then we go to high school, and we all know that people change in high school. And Mrs. Independent, I had quite a serious operation in school when Tara was at school. She was on about 13 or 14. And I remember coming home from this operation, and she was just sitting there in my clothes. And God knows to this day how she'd got in when it weren't even visiting. And I was high on morphine, and she was sitting in I don't know if those who remember Hooch. She'd got my best Hooch cream cardigan on. She'd put some slap on, and she'd pretended that she was, God knows how she'd got in. And she went, can you hurry up and get wet? And that's a memory that will sit with me forever. Wherever she wants to get, she's like water. She'll find her way. She'll find a way to get there.
That one specifically as well, I remember, because that was at a time, and I wasn't even, I think I was maybe 12 or 13.
Yeah, you were 12,
and it was, you don't get that bus. You don't, like, it was like a thing that I wasn't allowed to do, because the hospital was on the other side of town, and I didn't, like, I didn't have a phone with the bus app or anything like that. And I think it took 2 or 3 buses for me to get there. But I was like, that's it, right. If I want to do something, I'm going to do it. And especially if it is with people with somebody who needs something from me, or needs me, or I need to be there for somebody. Like, I mean, I had the same, was a couple of years ago, one of my best friend in the entire world has had a couple of run-ins with cancer, as she said to me before. That's how she's phrased it. And it was the second time round, and I was in Dubai at the time, and I was like, I'm getting on a plane. Like, that's it. She was like, I'm going in for an operation in 2 days. And I'm getting on the plane. I'll be there. It doesn't matter. I'll be there. So I think that sticks, and that still sticks now. Like, but it started from young.
That is part of your authenticity. When I sadly lost my mum very suddenly, and I never felt so lonely in the entire world. There was a knock at the door, and Tom's dad, bless him, had picked her up, and she just went, I'm here. And she was just standing there, just standing at the front door. Are you going to let me in then, or what? And it was just that, once again, that's your commitment. And I said I wouldn't cry about certain things. But there have been moments where, the pride, and we know we've been through shitty bits. We've been through a lot of shit together. But there are times when I just want to slap her across the face quite openly. Like,
but when I'm so far away, you can't reach.
I can get on a plane, girl. Just remember, same but different, which is, to those who don't know, is something that me and Tara and Tom and my husband Dave will always say, oh God, same but different. So even though she's gone out and strided, impacted on all these people's lives in her own Taraism and unique way, we are so similar in many ways, but different in so many. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Agree. Yeah. So highlighting that, the thing, we went to, I still got a phone call from high school. Hi, is that Mrs. Blah, 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 blah? Yes, it is. I'd just like to know, because there's been slight concerns here with your shift patterns. And I went, I don't work shift patterns. And long story short, Tara and her friend at that point, Charlotte, no names will be given, decided in her wisdom that she would rock up to her own parents' evening, and she thought that she'd chosen my handbag, my makeup, and a hairpiece. She would go along and get her own feedback on her own parents' evening. Is that right, Tara? Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah, but you were working at the hospital at the time, and you were on shift. You were like, I can't. You were working at night. You were working on shifts, and you were like, I can't come to your parents' evening. Did we
actually share the fact that you had a parents' evening, or did you take it upon yourself, as you always do? I can deal with this situation. That's a problem. I'll deal with this in my own way. So she rocked up in the day of hairpieces, where it could make you add 3 or 4 years. And I had the embarrassing phone call of, she'd even taken notes of, these are the things that she needs to work on.
You needed to know, you needed to know all of the good feedback. I needed to know what I needed to improve. You see, if I'd have missed it, I would never have known. Again, like, I still do that stuff today. Like, if there's anything, like, I always need to have the feedback. I need to have the feedback, because if I don't have the feedback, how can I get any better? And that's what you just said at the beginning. Like, I'm always on the, I've got to get better. I've got to get better. And the only way I know that is by knowing what I need to do.
Every day's a school day. We must grow every single day. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, every day you must learn, every single day. I agree with you on that one. Yeah, that's one of the same sayings. We have many differences, such as burping and farting in public, but that's one of our differences. Same, different. So we've done Bourne, we've done primary school, we've done you there, and we've done your primary school. There are many, in fact, there are numerous stories that her friends, particularly at a wedding that she didn't know, have filled me in on, particularly your friend, your best friend, has filled me in on many of the things that I thought Tara was doing one thing. We'll skirt around the fact how she could get a free taxi into town most nights, but that's another story.
Look, you've got to do what you've got to do. If you need taxis
You're an
to go
opportunist,
out,
Tara.
then
You will
you go
seize
out with a
any
taxi driver. That's
opportunity.
what you do.
You will seize
I'll
any
speak
opportunity.
Absolutely.
You
I will.
do. Yeah,
I will.
you can see that. That's not a problem.
And
So
I
where does
think
that take us up to? Uni.
Well,
dedication. I'll tell people about your dedication. On Tara's 21st, was it, Tara? And I've still got the boxes in the hallway. I filled up 3 tiny little suitcases with all the things that I thought really mattered to Tara. And on her 21st birthday, where normally people would be having a party and having a rave up, she was swatting beyond all belief with her other friend, first name only, Faye, in a damp, cold house. And I'll tell you that, in Leeds, doing your dissertation. And she said, you can come, Mum, you can drop my present off and I'll give you, I were even time allocated. So all you people that have a time slot, deal with it, mate, deal with it. Because I think I have to book an appointment. And she says, apparently her agenda is always going to be open for me, which is a biggie. But she gave me 1 hour and I brought you your lunch. And then you went, right, you're going to have to go now, Mum, so I can do my dissertation. And this is from the girl that got kicked out of the library because she was trying to finish a dissertation in the library and security kicked her out because they'd shut it and you tried to hide it, didn't you?
We were sleeping, me and Faye were sleeping under a table when we did it. We took a duvet into the library at university and we're sleeping under the table. Because again, it had to be right. It had to, but that's the learning thing, the school thing. And I think, my earphones falling out. I think, I don't know, I'd say that takes us to about now. And maybe actually at that point, it is a good point because a lot of people see us together. We've been on a few things together now.
No. Sorry. This is where I, as the mother, we've taken up to the university 21, right? So at that point, Tara said, Mum, I need to move to Barnsley. Now, she may as well just taken a knife and cut my heart out because Barnsley is 40 miles away.
It was closer than I was because I was in Leeds before, so it's closer than I already was.
All right, so we did the Leeds thing. Then you went to Barnsley. Then you went from Barnsley to London. Each time that little bit further. Then from London to
Dubai.
Then from Dubai to
Peru.
Then from Peru to
Argentina. Greece, then
I
Argentina.
just hope and pray that the universe never ever finds another planet that Tara can visit because she would be there if she thought she could take it over and lead it. And my mum, bless her, was no longer here, and she went, I just don't know how you can bear, because I have one son in Australia and I have one daughter in wherever the bloody hell she can find each time.
Wherever the fuck she wants
and
this week.
You know what? My kids can, the world is, as we've always said, Tara, we are booked 24 hours away from each other. So if we have to jump on a plane and my kids fulfill their true potential, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, that was always something in my mind, and never as much as it's happening now, but I couldn't stay in one place. It's not even now, like I'm always thinking, okay, where's next? Where can I see next? What can I experience next?
Because you were conceived in a tent.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Nomadic.
And I do love camping.
Digital nomad. Yeah, digital nomad. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah. But what I was going to say earlier was about university time. So everybody sees us together quite a lot, and we have the relationship we have now is amazing. But we weren't always as close as we are now.
Oh God,
right? We weren't.
No. And I don't know how much you want us to share. Should we share the moment where David never? I think we've had two fights in entire lifetime, and they were of biblical proportions. One, she was lifted up by her throat and she punched a hole in the wall. And the second one, I nearly ended up in a prison in Dubai. Is that enough information?
I think that's enough. I think that's enough. But when we lived together, that was the difference. It was when I moved away, but it kind of, I don't know, especially when I moved away, it's like, it's now we're going to be really far away, but the time we spent together was just better. Like London was the start of that. Yeah. And I think it's just a really important point. If for anybody who's moving abroad and worrying about what will happen with the relationships with their family. And, you know, we're like, and of course you're going to miss people. Whenever you move abroad, you're always going to miss people. But for me, my relationships with my family got stronger. My relationships with my friends, that, you know, that they don't just disappear. Your good friends will always be there. You're
You
always
made a
gonna,
valid
you know,
point. You made a valid point. You said anybody that is prepared to fight, self-finance and commit to my wedding, to visit me wherever I am, shows true commitment. And that was never more apparent than when you and Tom got married. You know, I had family members that weren't even invited. Then, for one tiny moment, there was a twinge of guilt. I now realize the impact of guilt, and bollocks to that. Absolutely, live bollocks to that. You reap as you sow, and your family become your friends. You've said it all along. You know, your friends embrace us as your family members. And I feel very honoured, and I'll say this publicly. You said, you're all right, Mum, because I can quite easily cut family members out, but me and you get on. So you've got to get on, and you've got to have that mutual respect. And when you move away, one of my philosophies is you never, ever know what you've got until somebody takes it away. We all take it for granted. Well, let's go round there because we've done that for the last 15 Christmases, even though we all hate it. You made it quite clear one Christmas that we had together. I just need to make it. I need to put it out there because honesty is a big, big part of our relationship. And I will say to all of you poor people in the Leap, and all of you poor people that take on this phenomenal woman, she will take you to your limits. And you know that that is me. But in the same respect, she'll recognize, and you're in the room, so I'll have to talk to you about a third party, and then I won't attach my emotion to it, is when you saw the potential in me. I didn't. You trained me. Now, for you to train your own mother to train is the wrong word, coached. Coaches you. You will never, ever, I don't care who you take on as a client, you will never, ever find more pushback and more resilience than the person that you see sitting here now. Would you agree?
Yeah, and so for those of you who don't know, my mum was my first ever client. And what happened was I said, I'm going to do this coaching thing. I really, really want to do it. And at the time, you just decided to embark on a huge, well, actually, it wasn't even a huge thing. At the time, it was, I'm going to study. At the time, you were like, I love to learn. And mum, literally, one week she'll decide she's going to just take on an English A level because why not? I want to learn it. Then she'll be on a writing course. Then she'll again learning, always learning. This next thing was always loved hypnotherapy and hypnosis, and I'd love to learn more about it. So she went on this course. And that was it. It wasn't anything other than going on a course at the time to learn it because it was a passion. And that was it, that we started to have a conversation. You were like, I love this. And I was at the same time going in, I want to do this coaching thing. I want to do this qualification. And it was huge. It was £8,000.
Where were we? We were sitting in Gordon Ramsay in London, drinking 2 cocktails that I could not justify, were £15 each. 60 quid it cost us to change our lives on 4 bloody drinks. Now, I'm from Yorkshire and I'm tight, right? 60 quid to change your life is quite good, really.
Well, because we were having conversations of, it was the conversation of what if this, what if that. It just needed that slight lubrication of what if we were to go big.
Yeah, it is.
And so, but you made me an offer. You made me a very kind offer. So, but that was when we were talking about that. But when I was in Peru and I decided I was going to start this coaching thing, you made me an offer, or we made each other an offer actually. I said, right, will you be my first coaching client, and I'll help get the business up and running, and help you get your business as a hypnotherapist and eye movement therapist up and running. And you offered to pay for half of my coaching qualification as the fee of that coaching engagement. And we set up a contract. You signed a contract. Do you remember? Like a contract, a proper invoice. It was done like absolutely properly from the beginning. And that was how we said, we'll do it if we do it properly.
Again. So all of you ladies on the Leap joining, just for 1 second, if you think for one moment, my daughter does not treat me as the same as you, I pay my membership because her philosophy is, mother, if you don't pay for what I deliver, you won't respect it. And you've taught me the hard way, because I'm the other side. I have ethical affordability in my business, which means I bloody give everything away, which is I'm learning the slow way.
That's not true. That's not true.
Not everything, but that is my philosophy. That's old school. So you're teaching me, but I won't, there's certain things, my boundaries I won't move past. But for me to respect, it's that aspect of I treat you, and I get it as tough as all of you other people that are in there. I think only a couple of weeks ago, we've gone through some personal crap. We've had a bereavement. And she went, right, first question, are you up for this? If I'd have said no, I could have rearranged. No, I am. And she went, right, have you prepared? And I went, right, I take that as a no, mother. I take that your face is a no. So I would like you to go to the filing cabinet and find the document that you are working on. And she could hear. And by the way, if you're looking in the filing cabinet and having that little bit of self-pity, and these are Tara's words to her own mother, I'll give you 2 minutes to pop upstairs and put some big pants on and then call in the fridge, open the door and say, take that can of, what is it? Man the fuck up, drink it and then pop back in.
Woman the fuck up,
I'll
actually.
sit here and I'll wait for you. So like a bloody idiot, I sat there in the filing cabinet and thought, who does she think she's talking to, the little twat or whatever, or something along those lines. And I thought, hang on a minute. Yeah, she's right. This is my emotion. This is my time to grow. So, right. So I did a quick snot blow in there. Right. And I went, okay, I'm ready. And we continued, didn't we? You addressed the elephant in the room, which I get that. And we both learned a lot. I think that we've both learned huge amounts from each other, because if we can detach the emotion from the situation in personal, in business, just in life in general, it gives us clarity. And that's, that's what you do.
And I don't think by any stretch of the imagination, and anybody can do that. And I've had conversations with other coaches before who say, I'll never work with friends, I'll never work with family. And there is certain friends and family who, correct, I would also never work with. And it's not because of them as a person. It's because I understand how that coaching relationship and that dynamic would go. But I think because of how we set it out at the beginning and we really set the boundaries and we know enough about each other of when to push and when not to push. And I think the other thing that you said earlier about if you don't pay for something, the results you get when you've put your the results and the way you show up when you've put your hard-earned money into something is just different than something that's free. And that it doesn't mean that, and I have partaken in many a free thing in my life that has actually changed loads of things. I'm not saying it can't. I'm just saying when you pay for something, you just show up differently. And you're right. So so Mum mentioned the Leap. So the Leap is my monthly coaching membership, which she pays every month to be a part of. And it's like whenever I have a new member, I have to go, by the way, in case you don't know, or in case you're going to think this is weird when I suddenly address somebody inside my coaching membership.
You've tried a couple of times to announce me, and this is Neena.
Can't do it.
Right, I'll just say it. Okay, it's my mum. And I'm afraid, unfortunately for you, obviously I've had a rough few months, but somebody saw a picture of you and me. Is that you or is that Tara? Obviously it was a few years ago, so don't panic. But we, even our approach to certain aspects of things. But once again, you will put your boundaries there. And I was told in no uncertain terms, verbally, right, Mum, if you don't start showing up, I'm going to kick you out the group. Didn't you?
Yeah.
Because you're wasting your money.
Yeah.
You said it.
I don't want people to be wasting money. If you're not coming, if you're not showing up, don't bother. Like, what's the point? But you just said as well that somebody you came in and did a guest expert session on guilt 2 days ago, and Leanne, one of the members in there, she sent me a message, or she wrote a comment on Instagram yesterday saying, I absolutely loved that session with your mum. It was so nice to hear her using all of the same phrases and the same words and the same mannerisms as you. It was so funny. And then she ended it and she said, I think everybody needs a relative, a friend, or just a human in their life like Neena. That's what she said about that session.
And we said that we wouldn't do the cryy thing, didn't we? Because we don't go in for all that slop and nonsense, do we?
Oh, all that slop and nonsense, no way.
Yeah, which we know is a load of bullshit as well. Because even when you're cruel to me, and you're not, and I know that, you are practically, you're there. You're there as the rock. But for those of you who think that, she's been tough on you, if you look carefully, her eyes will glaze over for you. She has got the biggest heart I have ever known. You know, it's like once again, I'd like to think all of my kids have got my heart, and they have.
And I say that so many times, and I ran a group program recently, which got me nearly every bloody week. And when I started it, I said, I will probably cry in every session of this, because it's seeing the way people change, seeing the growth that they achieve, seeing them having breakthrough. Like, honestly, the work that I do right now is insanely emotive for me, and because it is the thing that makes me so passionate. It's so emotive. And so week in, week out, I would be in a session with 5 amazing women who are doing really insane stuff and taking massive steps and being bold, and I would cry. But my point was, I can cry and I can leave. My eyes can be leaking, but I can still leave, and so can anybody. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you can cry your eyes out and leave. Like, it doesn't mean anything. You can show your emotions and leave. You can do any of that. It doesn't, there's not one way to do things.
Right. I've just had one of my clients has just said, I've just bobbed in to you and Tara. I've got a session now, but can I have the link to share? Because obviously, Tara, we talk such shite. Everybody in the whole world wants to listen to it.
Yeah. And I'm going to put the replay up afterwards. And what I think I'm going to do with this series in general. So this is just, like I say, we were meant to do this last week. And Hannah.
And then Auntie Joan went and died, which was so bloody inconsiderate.
No, so I've just seen a really nice comment from Hannah, and we just said we're not going to do the crying thing. So I can't actually read that out.
Do it, so. do it. Now, why should your audience not know how human you are? And you breathe in between that. You've just told everybody. So you read it slowly.
Says, I've always had both of you. I'm a very lucky human. You've both rescued me before. I love you. So there we go. That's that done. I can cry and I can still lead.
Breathe and be proud of what you've just done. All right. So you, this big hard, what were you described as? Somebody who had bollocks of steel.
Anyway, there you go.
You just showed everybody you're human after all.
Yeah, I am a human. I'm full human, and more, I think, like I say, it just, yeah. Anyway, where were we before? Yeah, so this was going to happen last week.
These people start putting all these bloody emotions on us. Where were we?
Oh, unacceptable. So this was going to happen last week.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I'm talking about a lot at the moment is, if you're going to do, and what I said to you again about coming and joining the coaching membership, if you say you're going to do something, fucking do it. Like, if you say you're going to commit to something, do it. I said this is going to come, and this week came, and yesterday I'd done nothing. I'd done none of the tech testing. I'd done none of the setup. I'd not thought about any questions. I'd not done any of the graphics or anything like that. I'd not posted about it anywhere on my social media. And this was yesterday, and I was like, well, it's so easy for me to say, I'm just going to put this off another week. Like, I'm just going to put it off another week. And I wrote the message out to you, and I'd said to myself, just because I'm too busy. And I was like, stop being a little sad bitch and fucking get off your backside and do it. Like, what is it going to take? It's going to take next to nothing. If it's not right the first time, it doesn't matter. The next time, it might be different. So I was like, right, where can I most easily go live on a couple of platforms? So that's why we're on LinkedIn and Facebook today, because it was, and I did a little training about this yesterday. How can you pick the path of least resistance? Like, how can you pick the thing that's actually just easiest so you can get something done? So in the future, I don't know, maybe this definitely going to go onto a YouTube channel. I came to this because you said about sharing a link. It's definitely going to go onto a YouTube channel. Whether it goes live there.
So whilst you are Billy Big Bollocks with all of this techno, this is what I get. Mum, do you want to come on? What do you call it? Tara Telly. That's what you said to me.
We call it the telly, because Mum once said to me, do you do that? Where you do those things where you're on the telly? I mean, I said, what do you mean, Instagram lives? She went, yeah, them things where you're on the telly, or when you're presenting to other people on the telly. So whenever she comes to do
on the interweb, as Nanny used to call it, on the interweb. Are you on the interweb?
Whenever I invite us to come and do an expert session inside the Leap, or we went live the other day, I'm like, do you want to come on the telly? Do you want to come on my telly?
Yeah, because I mean, part of it is, like I say, the other generation of aspect of, it's for people that are older, like older people like me. and it's something that was brought to mind by a good friend of mine, Fiona, yesterday, is people want to know, for people to buy into you, they want to know who you are. I went certificate collecting, course collecting. Let's see how many letters we can get after each other, because that will make you, people go, oh my God, look at that. Not one person. In fact, I actually say, would you like to see my certificates? And they go, no, I'm not interested. So it's who you are, your authenticity. But as humans, we don't like people to know that our eyes leak. We don't like, with this, how much warning you gave me for this today. Mm-hmm. The backstory of today. But if you are authentic in you, if I had to plan notes for this lot, we didn't know. We just said, right, this is how long? This is what I need to know. How long and what about? What are the boundaries? Yeah. That's a big one. What are the boundaries? Once I know what they are, it's like anybody. They can be just themselves. Now, that could be somebody. I have a friend that sits there and she just listens. She's like a sponge that can absorb and then relay everything else. Now, if I said to her, right, I want you to sit on the television and be a gobby shite like me, that's not her. So why would you want to be that person? There are times and places where I want to be that person, and it's the situation that you are in. And I think it's you. You've taught me that, and I think with your clients or even your friends, you have to be comfortable in your own skin, who you are.
Yeah. I did a thing I wrote a post the other day that so many people sent me a message about, and I said, I'd rather shit in my hands.
Your own hands, Tara. You'd rather shit in your own hands, Tara.
And clap than do something because I should do something, or because somebody else thinks I should do something, or I should be somebody. Like, it's just not. That's never been something that. In fact, I'm actually the opposite. And there's a really interesting. It's on my earphones. There's a really interesting test which is called 4 Tendencies Quiz by a woman called Gretchen Rubin, which shows you kind of, it's like one of these personality type tests or how you work, and it talks about when you do things and when you don't do things. And my type is called rebel, and essentially, even if I think I should do something myself, the minute somebody else tells me I should do it, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, because you said you should. You said I should do it, and I'm like, nope, don't want to do that now.
Don't know where the hell you got that one from. Don't know where. I don't know. Is that nature or nature? Is that taught or is that learnt behaviour? Which one is that one?
Don't know, but it's it's interesting. Like, I don't ever want to do something because I think I should. I want to do something because I want to do it, and I want to be the person that I want to be, not because somebody else has done something or comparing. And I think, like, in the coaching industry specifically now, it's so easy. It's such a rapidly growing industry, and everybody's earning £1 million and doing this, that, and the other. It's so easy to be like, well, I'm just going to copy that person and do what that person's doing, and then I'll get what they've got. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. You've got to be you. You've got to
be sustainable, Tara. It's not sustainable. You can't do it. It's like with me. If I had to come on and say, and this is the thing where I notice, hello, all these lovely people. I just want to go, what? That's my greeting. What? Do you want to come in? A number of times I open the door and say, you were told to come here at 7 o'clock. This is for people that come to my house to be entertained. It's now 7:07. You're teasing the dog. You're not coming in. That's my greeting to them. But they know me well enough to know that that's not real. But that is who I am. Rather than sit there with a face like a sour lemon, or somebody slapped your ass, thinking, let's get it out there, then let's move on from that. You are you. You are you as this person, you. I am me, who, and part of my my issue, and it's everybody's issue as humans, we don't like rejection. We don't like people to think we don't. As humans, we don't want, why don't they like me? They don't like me because I don't gel with them. I don't fit into their world. They don't fit into my world. And you have said just that. Part of it is, what will people say if Tara knows she used the F word? That's what Tara is.
Your connection's a bit dodgy.
Is
Your
it?
Connection's a bit dodgy. I'm losing you a little bit. Yeah.
Is it done?
You're back now. Sorry.
It's the universe. You see, that's the universe telling me I've said too much.
I don't think so. I think it was just your Wi-Fi connection.
Possibly,
You're back now. But yeah, I think that's it.
Go on.
As don't do things that you think, don't. The lesson is just don't do things they think you have to or that you should. Do whatever it is that you want to do, and it's about learning to say no, I think, and that's the thing that people find difficult. Learning to say no, I don't want to do that, or no, I'm not gonna. I don't. That's not a thing for me, or learning what it is that you do and you don't want to do, and owning it.
But don't you think that makes everything that you do, that thing that you do with intention, that's so much more authentic and special, because that person knows whatever shit you're going through, you want them in your life at that moment. There's no pretense, not pretend. It makes everything that you give so much more special, so much more quality. We've gone.
Serious Wi-Fi issue happening here. Sorry, guys. I don't know what is going on. I think it's actually my connection.
It is, because mine's still got the little fan. The fan says it's okay.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah, something's happened with mine and it's gone down. So with that in mind, I reckon we'll pull it to a close because I can't seem to change it either.
And we'll probably give everybody sensory overload anyway now, Tara.
The only thing that we didn't cover that I did want to talk about briefly, and let's see if the Wi-Fi holds up, was us continuing to work together. Like we've mentioned it a little bit, and I think never in a million years so did I think that, especially this year, we'd be working together, and we're working really, really closely together on. So Mum last year ran a retreat in South Yorkshire on an alpaca farm, which was incredible, and we're doing it again this year. But I mean, we were heavily involved last year, but this year we're even more heavily, like both Tom and I, we're even more heavily involved. And I didn't think that would be a thing, or I don't know. It's just it's really nice to be able to work together on a project. I've spent 10 years project managing, building projects and all sorts of things, and I didn't think that I would be project managing a retreat with my mother in 2023. I don't know about you.
I don't think in my entire 58 years on this life anybody could ever. Dave, bless him, has tried 27 years to project manage me. So I think in that, my husband's failed, bless him. He's there, he's my rock. But yeah, good on you for trying. I think you're almost cracked it with your most difficult.
Well, I said when we started it, right? And I'll say this at risk of saying it sounded like a dick, but when we first started this, and I said when we have our meeting every month, we get together a meeting, me, you, Dave, Tom, we meet and we go through what we need to do for the retreat for the next month. And I said, like, Tom does loads of the behind the scenes work and the beavering away at things, but I was like, I need to talk in that meeting, and we've got to a point where I know how to get you to do things or not to do things, and I know I can watch Tom say one thing and rub the button, or Dave say one thing and it's just the wrong way. It's just not the way that's going to get you to move.
It wouldn't be that rebel thing that you said earlier, would it?
Exactly. And it's that, but it's tuning in. And this is the thing I say to everybody, and I love those men very, very much, but are they in tune with how to communicate with other people? Are they? And it's that, like, learning how to communicate so well with somebody that's it. And I think we've nailed that, and I think that's probably a good way, that it's a good starting point, ground level to start a business on, just that one thing, communication. Yeah, and it is something that I thought.
Should we do it? Shall we? Should we go back to Gordon Ramsay and pay £15 for a bloody cocktail so we can do it?
I guarantee it'll be £20 now. Cost of living and all that will be more. That's it. I always say it to every single one of my clients: if you can choose only one single thing that you're going to concentrate on, if you're only going to pick one thing, make it communication, because it will change your life. It will change everything. It will change the way people behave towards you. It will change the way people. It'll enable you to influence people, get you what you want. Like, if you do anything, learn how to communicate. Like, that is the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a good message to end on. And I don't know if you want to actually, before you end, why don't you share a little bit about the retreats? So if anybody's interested in that,
we have retreats on my website, which is Therapy with Neena Rainey. There's retreats on there in May and in August. I think the dates are the 19th. It's tail end. One is on the 18th of May and one is in the 19th of August. It could be the other way around. I'm not sure. As well as I do holistic hideaways actually at home. I do one-to-one therapies. But no, my last words, and I will make sure always while there's breath in my body, Tara, my last words on this are, I love you with all my heart, my little star. Now I can go and cry.
You soft git.
You fanny.
Thank you. You're fanny. Yeah, that is the other thing.
That's our form of affection. You fanny.
You fanny. Thank you so much for coming on, and it's been amazing. Thank you so much. This is probably going to be at some point repurposed into a podcast and out there for everybody to listen to forever. Never.
Okay.
Thank you to everybody who's watched live, and if you've watched the replay, come and tell us you've been watching the replay so we know who was here. Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to hit like, subscribe to my channel so you never miss an episode, and leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this episode, remember